Hey y'all, Vanessa here with Back to the Basis of Barbecue, and today I'm getting to visit with a lovely lady whom I absolutely adore. So without further ado, because we've had some technical issues today, please meet Syrissa from Serious Smoke. Syrissa, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Today's great. It's a good day.
A good day for barbecue actually, and we're stuck inside, right?
Right, right.
Okay, Syrissa, so your team name is Serious Smoke. Where exactly, how did you come up with that?
Well, so long, I mean, if I were to go way, way back, I started a team a long time ago, called Weekend Warriors. And we cooked for a very long time. Actually, it started that my first team when I was 14 years old. And I cooked with my brother. And we cooked for a very long time until we just I guess we just couldn't take each other anymore, and we had to split up. And so the story goes, the irony of it is that it was my team and I started it, and he kicked me off, so I had to start a new team. So that's the big joke. But anyways, coming up with the name Serious Smoke. My name is Syrissa. There's a lot of S's. And so I just kind of wanted something that would be originally, I thought the logo would be something similar to like an SS Camaro, like the SS you see on the Camaros. And so Serious Smoke just fit that bill. I don't know, but some days we joke about it. Some days we're serious, some days we're not. So
No, absolutely. And I think that's, I love the fact of how you came about that. So Weekend Warriors, you went from WW to now Serious Smoke with an SS.
yes.
That's cool. That's cute. I love it.
Yes.
So in terms of your brother, how did he get to be the one to kick you off the team when it was something you started? Brothers these days, right?
I know, right? Right. I think, and maybe if I ask my husband, maybe I'm just sometimes I'm a little unbearable. I don't know. So, he just said he was going to do a few cook-offs and on his own, and I really wasn't invited. You know, hurt my feelings, but it also got my engine revving. So I went off on my own. I can do this, and I did. So he's my brother. I love him. Great guy. He doesn't even cook anymore. But we're still going strong. So
I want one of those retro Weekend Warrior shirts though. Like I don't know where they're at,
yes. Oh, I
Teresa,
have
but I
some.
need one of those.
I have some. They were
um,
mine was like a tank top too. One that I certainly can't even fit in anymore. But yeah, super retro.
I want one. Okay, so when, like, what year was it that you started cooking with your brother?
I would say in the 90s we started. So I've been in this game a long time. Um, I couldn't tell you what year, but 90s, in the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
So,
then
I mean, you've seen some of the definite changes that have gone through our sport because there have been lots and lots of changes. Have you seen any like trends that maybe have like left, but then they come back? Have you seen anything like that?
I'm glad you asked that question because I mean, I've been cooking for a long time and that is exactly what happens. There's trends that come and go. So, when we started, there were no gravity fed cookers. There were certainly no pellet smokers. Everything was and I learned very old school. My parents were a competition cooking team. And so when we were little, that's what we did. My dad had an RV and we just traveled all the time going to cook-offs. And, that was our life. And so that's where we learned it from. But when we got old enough to actually put some work in, we started off with, we did it old school. We took burn barrels and we burned wood down in these burn barrels, and then we shoveled the coals out and put them in our firebox. And that's what we did. And that's what everyone did. And so, back then it was your seasoning was kind of the star. Nobody sauced anything. There were no sauces. There were, it was just smoke and seasoning and meat. And so that's that's what that was. And then people started introducing sauces. And so then that came trendy. And then people started introducing, well, I can do it easier with this gravity fed smoker. And then here came the pellet smokers. You know what I mean? But really and truly, since I've been around a long time and I've kind of watched the trends, you watch when like the gravity fed smokers came in, a lot of the heavier smoke flavor went away. And what I've noticed lately is the smoke, people want smoke again. They're wanting smoke back in the flavor. So, it evolves. It really does. It evolves and it goes around and trends, and you just got to be able to follow it.
Now, do you think it fades in and out like year to year, or do you think there's like a specific flavor profile between like summer and winter kind of a thing? Because I've noticed sometimes like maybe they wanted a little bit more salt when I'm cooking in the summer versus like when I'm cooking in the winter. Do you think am I the only one that noticed something like that, or do you think maybe trends come in and out by season too?
I've never thought about it being the season. Now you're right though, when it's summer, we want something a little saltier. But I think for me, it's because I don't do the same cook-offs, and you know what I mean? I'm not in the same region in the summer as I am in the winter. So I account that for it being regional flavors versus it being seasonal flavors.
Right. No, I mean, I get that aspect too, for sure. Cooking, even using different woods in different areas, etc. So I totally get that too. Let's talk meat selection a little bit. Like, do you use one specific brand of chicken or ribs or brisket, or you just kind of like you go and you look for what meat looks the best? How do you choose your meat?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, a little of both. I have my favorites. But really, if I'm doing a brisket, I'm cooking a prime grade brisket. I know you didn't ask about grade, you asked about brand, but HEB is fine. HEB is down the street from me, and I can get a good prime grade brisket from HEB, and I know all the butchers, so that helps. I've cooked Wagyu, and I like Wagyu, but I'm more consistent with a prime, so I stick with a prime, even on the big cooks.
You know what?
I enjoy Wagyu. So if someone is ever going to ask me, do I think it's worth the cost? I absolutely do. Because, I like the flavor and I like it better. At a cook though, I think, I'm just going to go with a prime. To me, the odds are better in my favor with a prime. I'm not going to have to invest so much money into it, and I'm just more consistent with a prime. I think a prime is easier to control.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about what is your least favorite category to cook, because there's always one. Everybody's like, oh God, what is your least favorite?
Chicken. I hate chicken. Yeah, ironically, the last cook-off I did, I hit that first place chicken, and that was a big one, but I hate it.
So chicken is, you're not looking forward to getting chicken ready for the
No,
cook-off.
no. And I don't even like to eat it. That's the thing, is it'd be different if, when I make ribs, I'm always make extra because I want to eat them. I don't want to eat chicken. I'll do the bare minimum.
Just enough to taste it. Like, is it where I wanted it, kind of a thing.
Yes.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay, what about ancillaries? Do you do the extra categories, any of the jackpots, any of those things?
Yes, we do. And I say we do because, it's I might be the head cook, but I'm not, I have a team. So, I have my best friend, Kelby. She's been my best friend since we were probably 2 years old. She cooks beans for us. I have, and she does well with it. And then hopefully I can talk my husband into doing, the cook's choice or the steak, so I don't have to. I will, but if I've got them around, then that's just kind of what I do. let them handle that.
Yeah, absolutely. So who all are those, the only two people on your team besides yourself, or who makes up Team Serious Smoke?
Myself, my husband Anthony, my best friend Kelby, and then I have my cousin Jared Belusic. He was actually an original weekend warrior, and when we split from my brother, he came with me. So
Yeah, I like that. I love that.
yeah.
It's like y'all are going rock, paper, scissors. Okay, who are you going with? I
Yes,
love it.
yeah. It was pretty funny. And then the very first time we cooked against him, it was, it was really good. We beat him, so I always tell him, like, you made the wrong decision, but okay.
Aw.
Yeah.
What's your brother's name? Syrissa.
Matt Belusic.
Matt, if you're watching this, we're sorry. We don't mean
I
any of the
know.
negativity. Okay, let's talk about when you started. You said back like in the 90s, but your parents did this, and that's how you just grew up around it, like all of the time. What is the best advice you were ever given?
I think the best advice I was ever given was, well, there's two things that come to mind. One was from my dad. You know, being a very young female cook when we went on our own, I was heckled a lot. And there were times when, I deserved the heckling because I didn't place in anything and I was upset until I got heckled. But he said, if you want to give them something better to talk about, then do it. Keep your head up and give them something better to talk about. Go out there and show them out. So I think just keeping the grind going was some of the best advice ever. Was, if you don't like what they're saying, change it. Change you and change what you're doing, and they'll talk about something else. So that was good advice for me. I needed that. Two was, gosh, keep it simple. Really, really keep it simple. I think as cooks, we, when we do these cook-offs and we go around and we kind of taste different flavors or go to different regions, we tend to overthink things. So, well, yes. And I'm going to say this on another level to you, Vanessa, because we're females, we overthink things anyways. That's what females do. So it's very hard for me to not overthink something. And when I keep it simple, for instance, chicken, I don't like to cook chicken. So when I cook chicken, I keep it very simple, and it works, sometimes I find myself kind of going overboard with multiple steps on my brisket. And if I'd have just kept it simple, it would have placed. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, I do. And you're so right. I am a complete overthinker. And then, we're surrounded, no matter where you go cook, by all of these people who are amazing cooks, regardless of whether they get all of the recognition that they really probably deserve or not. That we're surrounded by amazing cooks everywhere we go. And so we're there walking around, and I don't know, but if you've been told this, probably, so I'm going to imagine, I don't know, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but kind of like that reminder of like that this is a man's sport, quote unquote. And but so yeah, overthinking things, it comes naturally, and maybe too natural for us. But I don't know, I'm gonna say that maybe we can use that as a positive thing. We have to, absolutely try to
Yeah,
use
I think
that.
so. That's what I always say. I'm like, well, at least I know I'm always one step ahead of where I need to be because I'm overthinking it to death,
No, for sure. Let's talk about your most memorable moment in barbecue, because I'm sure you've had a bunch, but what is one that really just sticks out in your head?
Let me think. Well, does it have to be about me?
No,
I mean,
absolutely
okay.
not.
I would say most memorable, my favorite memory in barbecue is, I guess, last year or excuse me, 2 years ago, when my daughter, who was, 6 years old at the time, did her very first cook, and she cooked her grilled cheese for, kids, her kids cook off, and she won first place. And I think there were maybe 40 entries. And, that was my just favorite memory. Let me take that back. So that's one of my favorites. And then the other one is I also have a son. He's older, and we cooked in he doesn't cook all the time, but I'm constantly trying to get my kids involved, because I want, I felt like my dad and my mom passed the torch to me and my brother, and I want to be able to pass the torch on. I don't want it to end, because my grandparents were barbecue cooks, and so this torch is being passed along, and I want to make sure that it just keeps going. So I'm constantly trying to get my kids more involved. Right now they're just kind of like, well, I mean, it's just kind of cool to watch you, mom, but they come to eat and things like that. But so anyways, when I do get my son to come out and cook, when he did one time, it was Thorndale Barbecue Cook-Off, and I think there were about 80 entries, and I hit second place ribs, and was up there getting the trophy and taking the pictures, and we were cheering and clapping. Well, first place ribs, he gets first place ribs. And so it was, I'm not sure I've ever been more proud, so those two times with my kids being able to get first place, doing their thing, those are my favorite memories.
I could not love that anymore. Absolutely. Our kids do become the center of our lives, and when they can become a part of something that is a hobby and that we love so much, we're passionate about, and then to see them succeed, and even when they don't succeed, see them overcome those obstacles as well. It's a really beautiful thing to watch. I love that. Yeah. What is the best advice that you would give to a female cook in this sport, or somebody that was a female that was thinking about trying out a competition because they cook at home for their family or whatever, and they were considering, what's some advice you would give to somebody?
Well, I would probably go back to that whole, when you're gonna show up and cook. Now, it sounds strange to say this, but sometimes you have to think about it like, when you're cooking a brisket, just cook a brisket. Don't cook a roast. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't over flavor it. Don't get too crazy. Just cook a brisket. And you know what I mean? If you need to make tweaks after that, then you can. But I think just keep it simple at first. I think another good thing too, that one thing that I've learned to do, and I feel like I've done, well with, is kind of really, before you get out there on the competition, know your flavors. And by that, I mean, know when you need salt, or when you have too much salt, or what counteracts salt, or what can I do to get a little twang in here? Is it vinegar? And sometimes randomly it's lemon juice. You know what I mean? Just know your flavors, understand what's in your seasoning if you're not making your own, if that makes sense. You can spend a whole lot of time, and I spend a ton of time with my seasonings, just kind of mapping them out and knowing my ingredients and knowing what works well with it and what doesn't. Just saves you a lot of time.
Absolutely. That's great advice. I appreciate that. And I'm sure that other females that are watching this, and probably some guys too, because I know a lot of people look up to you in this barbecue competition world. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that, keeping it simple and just really kind of like the show name, taking it back to the basis of like those foundational levels. I appreciate that. Okay, so I got to ask you, because I ask everybody that does this interview with me, are you a superstitious person?
I am. Yes.
All right. Tell me about a barbecue superstition that you have.
So at a cook-off, you will never see me without a baseball cap on. So have you ever?
No, I'm sitting here going, okay, that's so accurate. Like you always do,
Yeah.
you always have the cap on. Yeah.
I think so many people probably won't even recognize me here, and they're like, "Oh wow, I've never seen you actually without a cap." So yeah, that's my thing. So um, I always wear a baseball cap at cook-offs, and right before awards, we always play the Lowrider song, the old Lowrider song by War. That's, we always play that. And the times that we've gotten too busy and didn't play it, you're almost like, I told you it was the song. You
Right,
know?
exactly. Like, I mean, guys, we have to figure out what we're doing. Timeline has to work. We got to get this song
Yeah,
in
we got to get
before
the
we
song
go.
played. Yes, so that, and then I would say the third thing is that I never hold the tickets. I don't hold the tickets. I don't know what the numbers are. Kelby always hold them, and if we hit, she kind of just taps me and says, "Hey, that's you." So
I love that, actually. I love that. Most of the time, Aaron holds my tickets, but if I want to know what the number is, he still won't tell me. So,
oh yes, yeah. I'm gonna say I just don't want to know. And it's it when people show up and they'll say, "Hey, what's the number?" And I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to know, and you're not gonna know. We don't know. The only one person knows, and it's always Kelby.
yeah, absolutely. I have no idea what my numbers are, but strangely, Aaron does not let me hold his tickets, and I still
Oh,
don't know.
oh,
I just
that's
never
funny.
know.
That's funny.
Um, Syrissa, I am so glad you agreed to do this interview with me. Is there anything else you would like to say to anybody watching before we wrap this up?
There is something that, and I know is also near and dear to you is they're starting all of these high school barbecue teams. And I'm fortunate enough to live in Taylor, Texas, and they are starting a team there. And I'm looking forward to helping those kids out and helping them kind of, build a barbecue dream of their own. So I think, yeah, the last thing I want to say is, let's give these kids a chance. Let's all help them. Let's see what we can do to make it happen. And there's so many ways to get a barbecue team in high schools all around the state. So I'm excited to help with this journey for Taylor, and I hope that if anyone else gets the opportunity to help out in their own town, that they do. So
Absolutely, and that's so beautiful. Yeah, we do this now, and we're loving it. But essentially, we all have to pass this torch along eventually, and so why
yeah,
not just grow this barbecue community even more?
yeah,
Let's just keep extending it, and we're also teaching these kids a valuable lesson, like something that they may not get elsewhere. So I love that. Absolutely. Well, good luck to the Taylor barbecue team
yeah,
um, next year. I think that's going to be awesome. That's exciting.
yeah. I think it is too. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. Like I said, once again, Syrissa, and for those of you that are watching, remember everybody is somebody in barbecue, and I love y'all.